Right. So why is it important that we do, good estimates? Because, for engineering is a very competitive environment. Even though we're talking about, multi-million dollars project like 500 million, 300 million, you're talking about millions easily, okay? And then 300 millions, 2 millions is really chicken feed now. So if you're talking about, you know, 40, 50, 20 million kind of job, or 15, 20 million, is actually very average nowadays. And then some projects actually goes up to hundreds of millions. And these are really a lot of money involved. And even though it looks like a lot of money involved, but that few zeros at the back there actually could actually kill you or burn you or actually make you see. So you need to know that you really cannot, if you can actually do a proper study on your costing, not only that it can help you to win tender, okay, and get the job, by winning in a very, very nice margin. Like, your competitor is actually putting in 13.1 million, you put in 13.05 million, you win by a very, very slim margin. That is always the best thing ever, the best ever thing that happened, because you know that if you're so close with your competitor, you probably haven't done much of a wrong calculation. But if you win the tender by 15 million and they win it, and then the next lowest tender is actually 18 million, you've got a $3 million difference. I think you're going to feel really, really terrible about that, because that would mean that you probably could have put it at 17.5 million and you still can win the tender. Plus, you probably have a very bad wrong estimation somewhere that produce such a low estimates, compared to your second winner or your runner-up. You see, so usually that is an indication. So costing that the estimates that is being done, it will actually make a very lot of difference when it comes to proposal, tendering, and winning the job. And obviously, if you have a very detailed estimates, that will produce a very good estimates. Later on, when you manage each and every one of the component of the project, it will make your life a lot easier in that sense. Okay. So your estimation and your estimation, and also your estimation will actually be used later on as the management control, as part of cost control for your project. So the more detail that you have in the beginning will actually help you in terms of procurement. Your procurement team will have an easier time, when it comes to procurement, because they will know the rate that is available, and they don't have to actually guess, what is in there, and what is that particular $1, $2 mean, and then if that $1, $2 can actually be projected with, a few thousands meter cube, or 1 meter run, with a 20 km, it's a lot of money actually. So it will help in terms of procurement, it will help in terms of cost control, it will help in terms of what to expect, and it will help in terms of cash flow, especially in how you're going to estimate your cash flow. So we will explain that either on first day, and yeah, these are some of the, and then also, if you know your detail very well, it's actually easier to do negotiation. So if negotiation usually requires you to know your stuff, a good negotiator, you must know what is your trump card, what is the bottom line, what is your borderline, and all this will actually make a difference in terms of negotiating. A lot of project comes with negotiating. Even after tender, they will ask you to negotiate a certain rate, and can you do that? So if your rate is actually looking really high, they may want to push it down, but if you know what is in your rate, it's actually easier for you to talk and convince your client this is what you actually need to complete the project. So again, I think these are some of the critical point of why you want to have a detailed estimates, okay, and why you need to do detailed estimates. Again, I'm not saying that detailed estimates is everything at all. It is to an engineering job. See, so you need to realize that actually you need to realize that different budgets. So this lecture here is emphasizing on different estimates. Okay, it's going to be used at a different time. Okay, and each estimates require you to do different things. Okay, so it's not a one formula for all. Costing and costing techniques is not one formula for all. Okay, and it needs to have, it goes from expert opinion classified down to detailed estimates. All these are used at a different time. For example, expert opinion is just really beginning of the project. It's a need and demand stage. Conceptual stage, you will use order of magnitude. Preliminary stage, development of the project, you will use parametric estimates, and when you come to tendering stage, you will, or pre-tendering stage, procurement stage, you use definitive estimates, and then after that the construction stage you will use detailed estimates. So different stages will have different requirement. It will give different estimates, will give you different level of accuracy for its own intended purpose. The effort is very different from one another, so this is something that you really truly have to remember. Okay, and once the estimates are being confirmed, okay, once the estimates are being confirmed, they will become your budget. Okay, and budget is actually can be top down or bottom up. So budget is already an allocating of pricing of something sure. Okay, and budget in English dictionary, estimates and budget is the same thing, but in terms of estimates, is a forecast of cost. You're allocating you are forecasting the components of the cost, and then once this component of the cost is actually tied to the actual project, actual achievement, and get approval by the paymasters, this is what you get when it comes to the budget. So a lot of time questions will revolve around what is the budget, what is the estimate, so you need to be able to answer that. At the end of the day, you're controlling what? You're actually controlling the budget of the job, because that is what the client approved, and you need to stick within that particular budget. Okay, and here this particular section of the lecture, I'm actually just going through some of the cost component, which we have already done more or less in the resources bit. So here, direct costs, we call direct costs, will be labor, plant, equipment, materials. All these are direct costs, and then these are indirect costs. So these are in the work breakdown. We also have this direct and indirect. But here, in terms of costing, is actually more prominent. And labor costs, okay, maybe I should stop here and move on to the next recording, so that we don't really have to waste time. So we don't have to be cut in the middle. Okay, sorry.